In Book 3 of A Farewell to Arms, Frederick Henry returned to the Italian front where he took part in the disastrous Battle of Caporetto that led to a chaotic retreat of the entire eastern front of the Allied army in Italy. Henry, disillusioned by the attempted assassination at the hands of the military police, finds a way to escape, and now he's deserted the army, made his way back to Milan, and is in search of Catherine Barclay. My name's Trisha Slapizio. I'm your host for Tea and Bedtime Stories. In this episode, we will continue reading Ernest Hemingway's novel, A Farewell to Arms. Last time we read and discussed chapter 32, and that was the end of book 3. I will begin book 4 and continue the story with chapter 33. After the reading, I'll follow up with quick facts and my impressions, so let's begin reading chapter 33 of book 4. I dropped off the train in Milan as it slowed to come into the station early in the morning before it was light. I crossed the track and came out between some buildings and down onto the street. A wine shop was open and I went in for some coffee. It smelled of early morning, of swept dust, spoons and coffee glasses and the wet circles left by wine glasses. The proprietor was behind the bar. 2 soldiers sat at a table. I stood at the bar and drank a glass of coffee and ate a piece of bread. The coffee was gray with milk, and I skimmed the milk scum off the top with the piece of bread. The proprietor looked at me. "You want a glass of grappa?" "No, thanks." "On me," he said, and poured a small glass and pushed it toward me. "What's happening at the front?" I would not know. "They are drunk," he said, moving his hand toward the 2 soldiers. I could believe him. They looked drunk. "Tell me," he said, "what is happening at the front?" I would not know about the front. "I saw you come down the wall. You came off the train." "There is a big retreat." "I read the papers. What happens? Is it over?" "I don't think so." He filled the glass with grappa from a short bottle. "If you were in trouble," he said, "I can keep you." "I'm not in trouble." "If you are in trouble, stay here with me." "Where does one stay?" "In the building. Many stay here. Any who are in trouble stay here." "Are many in trouble?" "It depends on the trouble." "You are a Southern American." "No." "Speak Spanish?" "A little." He wiped off the bar. "It is hard now to leave the country, but in no way impossible. I have no wish to leave. You can stay here as long as you want. You will see that what sort of man I am." "I have to go this morning, but I'll remember the address to return." He shook his head. "You won't come back if you talk like that." "I thought you were in real trouble." "I'm in no trouble, but I value the address of a friend." I put a $10 note on the bar to pay for the coffee. "Have a grappa with me," I said. "It's not necessary." "Have one." He poured the 2 glasses. "Remember," he said, "come here. Do not let other people take you in. Here you are all right." "I'm sure." "You are sure?" "Yes." He was serious. "Then let me tell you one thing. Do not go about with that coat." "Why?" "On the sleeve it shows very plainly where the stars have been cut away. The cloth is a different color." I did not say anything. "If you have no papers, I can give you papers." "What papers?" "Leave papers." "I have no need for papers. I have papers." "All right," he said, "but if you need papers, I can get what you wish." "How much are such papers?" "It depends on what they are. The price is reasonable." "I don't need any now." He shrugged his shoulders. "I'm all right," I said. When I went out, he said, "Don't forget that I'm your friend." "No, I will see you again," he said. "Good," I said. Outside, I kept away from the station where there were military police and picked up a cab at the edge of a little park. I gave the driver the address of the hospital. At the hospital, I went to the porter's lodge. His wife embraced me. He shook my hand. "You are back. You are safe." "Yes." "Have you had breakfast?" "Yes." "How are you, Tenente? How are you?" the wife asked. "Fine." "Won't you have breakfast with us?" "No, thank you. Tell me, is Miss Barkley here at the hospital now? Miss Barkley. The English lady nurse. His girl, the wife said. She patted my arm and smiled. No, the porter said, she's away. My heart went down. You are sure? I mean the tall, blonde, English young lady. I am sure. She has gone to Stresa. When did she go? She went 2 days ago with the other lady, English. Oh, good, I said. I wish you to do something for me. Do not tell anyone you've seen me. It is very important. I won't tell anyone, the porter said. I gave him a 10-lire note. He pushed it away. I promise you I will tell no one, he said. I don't want any money. What can we do for you, Signor Tenente, his wife asked. Only that, I said. We are dumb, the porter said. You will let me know anything I can do. Yes, I said. Goodbye. I will see you again. They stood in the door looking after me. I got into the cab and gave the driver the address of Simmons, one of the men I knew who was studying singing. Simmons lived a long way out in the town toward the Porta Magenta. He was still in bed and sleepy when I went to see him. You get up awful early, Henry, he said. I came in on the early train. What's all this retreat? Were you at the front? Will you have a cigarette? They're in the box on the table. It was a big room with the bed. Beside the wall, a piano over on the far side, and a dresser and table. I sat on a chair by the bed. Simmons sat propped up by the pillows and smoked. I'm in a jam, Sim, I said. So am I, he said. I'm always in a jam. Won't you smoke? No, I said. What's the procedure in going to Switzerland? For you? The Italians wouldn't let you out of the country. Yes, I know that, but the Swiss, what will they do? They intern you. I know, but what's the mechanics of it? Nothing. It's very simple. You can go anywhere. I think you just have to report or something. Why? Are you fleeing the police? Nothing definite yet. Don't tell me if you don't want, but it would be interesting to hear. Nothing happens here. I was a great flop at Piacenza. Oh, I'm awfully sorry. Oh, yes, I went very badly. I sung well, too. I'm going to try again at the Lyrico here. I'd like to be there. You're awfully polite. You aren't in a bad mess, are you? I don't know. Don't tell me if you don't want. How do you happen to be away from the bloody front? I think I'm through with it. Good boy, I always knew you had sense. Can I help you in any way? You're awfully busy. Not a bit of it, my dear Henry, not a bit of it. I'd be happy to do anything. You're about my size. Would you go out and buy me an outfit of civilian clothes? I have clothes, but they're all at Rome. You did live there, didn't you? It's a filthy place. How did you ever live there? I wanted to be an architect. It's no place for that. Don't buy clothes. I'll give you all the clothes you want. I'll fit you out so you'll be a great success. Go in that dressing room. There's a closet. Take anything you want. My dear fellow, you don't want to buy clothes. I'd rather buy them, Sim. My dear fellow, it's easier for me to let you have them than to go out and buy them. Have you got a passport? You won't get far without a passport. Yes, I still have got my passport. Then get dressed, my dear fellow, and off to old Helvetia. It's not that simple. I have to go up to Stresa first. Oh, ideal, my dear fellow. You just row a boat across. If I wasn't trying to sing, I'd go with you. I'll go yet. You could take up yodeling. My dear fellow, I'll take up yodeling yet. I really can't sing, though. That's the strange part. I'll bet you can sing. He lay back in bed smoking a cigarette. Don't bet too much. But I can sing, though. It's damned funny, but I can. I like to sing. Listen. He roared into Africana, his neck swelling, the veins standing out. I can sing, he said, whether they like it or not. I looked out of the window. I'll go down and let my cab go. Come back up, my dear fellow, and we'll have breakfast. He stepped out of bed, stood straight, took a deep breath, and commenced doing bending exercises. I went downstairs and paid off the cab. So that concludes chapter 33 of book 4. So a few quick facts and then my impressions. If you remember, grappa is brandy. It's made from the leftover pulp, like the grape stems, skins, and seeds, when they make wine. And it's a digestif, and it's traditionally an after-dinner drink, right, to help you digest your food. And it's known for its high alcohol content and unique flavor profile. Stresa is a town in northern Italy. If you remember a few chapters back, it's the little lake town. It's one of the little lake towns on the Lago Maggiore, which just means large lake. It's like this giant Y-shaped lake that borders Italy and Switzerland. I think, if I remember correctly, they spent like a day rowing on the lake or something. We're supposed to spend the weekend and got sick. I don't know, I can't remember. But I remember them talking about wanting to travel to Switzerland someday when they were on one of their little excursions. So it's kind of a full circle thing that she's there. When he talks about where Simmons lives, the Porta Magenta, it was formerly called the Porta Versalina, so it might still be called that, and if you look it up, but it's a large it was, I don't know, I've never been there, but it was a neoclassical, basically a columnar, like stone structure that was part of the gates of the city of Milan. So the city is built initially by the Romans. Milan was built in a square grid, and so the Porta Magenta or the Porta Versalina would have been on the west end of that square. It's since the corners have been knocked off, and they had a big square wall around the city at one time. And then in the medieval period, it was rebuilt, and then again it was built in like 1600s, I don't remember, by the Spanish. Something like that. But the city itself is laid out in these kind of round concentric circles, and it would be on the second. They're avenues now because the wall's been torn down, but the Porta Magenta would be on the second circle on the west side, and it used to be like the toll booth to get into the city. And so I guess it's still standing, I don't know, or at least at that time it was still standing. And so it was a big landmark to help them find that building. It's kind of interesting when you think about how much history is preserved and how much is not, and for what reasons. Anyway, Ralph Simmons, the person he's going to visit, who lives near the Porta Magenta, that may or may not exist to this day, was Ralph Simmons. If you remember, and I think it was chapter 5 when he was at the bar with the rude captain or whoever. There were 2 opera singers there, American opera singers, trying to be Italian opera singers. And Ralph Simmons was, I think, the quiet one, if I remember. But he is studying opera. He sings under the name of Enrico Del Credo. And he's kind of described as always on the verge of success, but never quite getting there. And so if you remember back, they were talking about going to the Piacenza, which is a town. I guess there's a series of opera houses in between the major cities, which would be Bologna and Milano. And the Piacenza is the opera house, public opera house in that small town. So it's just southeast on the way to Bologna. And then the Lirico refers to a historic theater in Milano. It has an interesting history, too. The theater has been in Milan since the 1700s. And it was nearly destroyed several times, I think once in a fire. And it's gone through a few different iterations, but it's still there. It was rebuilt in the 1770s as like the more general public opera house. At the same time, the Scala that they were talking about, he didn't talk about it in this chapter, but before, when they were referring to all the places they were going to sing at, they talked about the Scala, and historically they were built around the same time, but the Scala was kind of tailored for the aristocratic class, whereas the Lyrico is more of like the not the bourgeoisie, but probably something like that. The hoi polloi would go there. Anyway, the theater was renamed recently the Giorgio Gaber Theater, but it's still there, the Lyrico. Anyway, when he says on to old Helvetia, that word just means Switzerland. Helvetia is the female personification. It's like a female, I guess, I don't know. She looks like a goddess, but she's the personified figure of Switzerland. It's the national emblem is Helvetia. And it's basically the name of Switzerland in America, because we're ignorant and stupid. I said it. We call it Switzerland, but they call it Helvetia. And it's on their coins. It's on their, I think, on their flag. It's derived from their ancient roots when they were a Celtic tribe called the Helvetii. And they were the inhabitants of the Swiss plateaus. And there's no town named Helvetia. At first I thought, when I read it, that he was going to a town, Helvetia. But there is, ironically, a town in West Virginia in the United States called Helvetia that was settled by Swiss immigrants. And they still have festivals and maintain their Swiss traditions, or the Helvetia traditions, which is kind of cute. I don't know. I love America for that reason. It's so interesting and diverse. When he was talking about how he burst into song Africana, I'm not sure exactly what he's talking about, but he's most likely referring to the opera La Africane, which was written by Giacomo Meyerbeer in 1865. And it tells the story of a Portuguese explorer, Vasco da Gama, and when he returns home from an expedition with these two Indian slave girls, one of them falls in love with him, Salika, and then the other, Nelusco, I think that's how you say their names, plots against him. And so it's an opera about themes of love and colonialism and cultural clashes. And so I don't know if that's a foreshadowing of something that's to come, if that's why he chose that particular opera. But if you remember Hemingway, his mother was a music teacher, and so he did take music lessons, and he did like opera and the romantic forms of music. And so there might be some symbolism there. I don't know. I haven't read the rest of the book yet. But that's all I have for quick facts. Or I guess that wasn't very quick. But my impressions, I think, despite the fact that Henry is a vengeful murderer, or has been established as one when he killed the soldiers in cold blood, I find myself hoping that he survives. Because I feel like, in a weird way, he, like, got his karma, and he's over it, and it's just ironic how we can love and hate this person at the same time. I think as a reader, that's always a fascinating dichotomy for me. And I think it just shows the brilliance of Hemingway that he's able to make this person who doesn't really have a whole lot going for him seem so likable. He's so American, this character. For whatever that means, but all that implies. He's just very American, and it's kind of folksy and charming in a weird way, and the text doesn't really say that. Maybe that's just my imagination. I don't know. But anyway, I'm kind of rooting for him. I like also that the proprietor of the wine shop is kind of an inspiring character. However briefly he's mentioned in this story, he brings kind of a hope to a dismal situation, right? He's obviously a humanitarian because he's trying to help as many people just as a human being. And in this particular setting where Henry's just almost been murdered by the people he was trying to serve, he really looks like a hero. He looks like a herald from heaven, and I think that was probably purposeful to kind of encourage us as the reader. And it's really masterful how Hemingway can so easily teleport, right, our emotional state with so few direct messages. And it feels like teleportation in a weird way because we go from this one extreme to another extreme in a really short amount of time, if you get what I'm saying. Anyway, the sentiments of the porter and his wife as well are really encouraging. And it kind of gives like social proof that, Henry's kind of a good guy deep down, or at least he was good to these people. And, because remember, the porter was kind of a jerk to him at first, and he obviously won them over. And yeah, I think that's kind of cute. So it does give credence to, like, we want this guy to win. Anyway, it's clear that book 4 begins another turning point for Freddie. It feels very different than where we were in book 3. And the author is kind of reiterating, I think, the dichotomous theme that, like, when he's in the north in the mountains where it's cold and crappy, there's nothing but hell, conflict, turmoil, chaos. And when he's in the lowlands or getting closer, like, to the water, I don't know, it's weird. Water is like a baptism for him in some weird way. And notice whenever water shows up, something major happens to him. And so, yeah, it shows a lot of interesting little turning points and nuances, and it's cool that he's carrying that theme throughout the book for continuity. And it's just interesting because he just escaped from all that crap, and now he's planning to immediately go back so he can find Catherine and leave the country for Switzerland, which is the mountains. Like, that's all that is mountains. Those Alps go forever, and it's all of Switzerland. It's just mountain. So I don't know what that's his salvation, but it's also, I don't know, crazy to think that that's going to be a place where he finds refuge. Obviously, that's doubtful because there's still the threat of him being captured. However welcoming Switzerland is to the deserters or whatever, and Catherine is still pregnant. And now they're going to be on the run together. They're still not married. And they know no one in Switzerland. He does have a thing for winning people over, but that takes time and effort. And we don't know how much time they're going to have for any of that under those circumstances. So I'm hopeful for their future, but not really. It's obviously tempered appropriately. But I think it's cool, the tension that creates for us as a reader. It's motivating us not to abandon the story and kind of abide with Henry on this crazy new adventure he's about to embark on. And it's just really good storytelling, in my opinion. This book is hard to read, but I can definitely see why Hemingway is a respected writer. Anyway, that's all I have for chapter 33 of book 4. In the next episode, we'll pick up where we left off with chapter 34 of A Farewell to Arms by Ernest Hemingway. Please join me for more tea and bedtime stories. I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks for listening.